The 2.2 lecture video is already up on Lunchbox School, so if you need help over that stuff, it's available for you. So we're going to go through those four. Any objections? Any additions? All right. So number 7. All right, number 7. What's number 7 say, please? Okay, so before I get the points, right, what's important from this is that everybody realizes, sorry, it's been a long day. So everybody realizes that when they ask you to identify a line, whether a line rises, falls, is horizontal or negative, or horizontal or vertical, you have to identify the line shape based off of its slope. So whenever they ask you identify the type of line, you have to make sure you're calculating slope. Okay, so what are the 2 points, please?
-1, 4, and 1, -3.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Yes or no? So how do I find slope? What's my formula? Okay, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, what does the y sub 2 stand for? What does that mean in reality? Okay, so y coordinate second point. Everybody okay with that? Yes, no, maybe? So what's y1 actually stand for? Y coordinate, which point? First point. Everybody okay with how these numbers are built? Yes, no? So if I wrote up like y6, you would know what that means, right? Y coordinate 6 point. Everybody good? Okay, so what is my y2 value? -4. Minus what is my y1 value? Yep. What's my x2 value? And what is my y1 or x1 value? -1. So the easy way to keep track of all this is if the points 1, -4, they have to be over each other. Those numbers have to be over each other. So we have x2 and y2, okay? Does the order really matter down here? Could I go 4 minus a -4? Yeah, as long as I have -1 under 4 and +1 under a -4. Is everybody okay with that connection, yes or no? So what's -4 minus 4 on top? -8. What's happening to the double negative on the bottom? It becomes a positive, so what's 1 plus 1? -8 divided by 2. So that's what I need to see for your slope. Remember, slope is always a fraction, so it must be reduced. Okay, 8 over 2 gets you half the points. All right, I need to see it as reduced. So, is the slope positive, negative, 0, or undefined? Negative. And what kind of a slope has, or what kind of a line has a slope that's negative? A falling line. So this line falls. So in order to get your full points, I need to see both. At least it came back. I need both answers, okay? I need to see falls, and I need m equals -4. Yes, ma'am. No, it didn't say to graph. You're not graphing any of these. It's all find the slope, use the slope to answer the question. Okay, so this is all actually an algebraic section. All right, so any questions on 7 or from that set? Everybody okay with what I want to see for you to get points? Yes, no? All right. Up next is number 19. What's number 19 say, please and thank you? So what are the directions for number 19? Okay, so we've got 2 lines that we're comparing, right? Line 1, line 2, and the directions say I want you to identify whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So real quick, what do we know about parallel lines? The slopes are the same. Perpendicular lines, what do we know about the slopes? And then neither is anything else. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so what are the points for line 1? Okay, and then for line 2? Whoops, hang on, -3, 2? Okay. So again, I need to see the slope for each of these lines. Okay, you cannot make a determination as to whether 2 lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither unless you know their slopes. So I'm going to find the slope of each line here. So, -2 minus 5 over 3 minus 1. That's going to be -7 over 2. And that's reduced. So everybody okay with how I did that for the first one? Yes, no, maybe? Any points of contestation, or are we good? Over here, 0 minus 2, all over 4 minus a negative is going to go positive. So I get negative 2 over 7. Everybody okay with that? So now that I have my two slopes, are they exactly the same? So I'm asking you, are these lines parallel? Is negative 7 halves identical to negative 2 sevenths? Yes or no? No. In order for two fractions to be equal, the tops have to be the same and the bottoms have to be the same. Is 7 the same thing as 2? No. So these are not exactly the same, right? Are they opposite? This is a negative. What's the opposite of a negative? Is this a positive? No. So are they reciprocals? Yeah. Negative 7 halves, flip it over, you get negative 2 sevenths, right? Is that enough to be considered perpendicular lines? No, it's got to be opposite sign and reciprocal. So if this is a negative, what should this one have been? A positive. Is it, though? No. So are they parallel? Are they exactly the same? No. Are they opposite reciprocals? No. So they're not parallel, they're not perpendicular, so what are they? Neither. So is everybody okay with how you identify if lines are neither? Right? So you ask yourself, if they're parallel, the slopes have to be the same. So do I have that? Are the slopes the same? No, so parallel is out. If they're perpendicular, the slopes are opposite reciprocals. Do I have that? No, so we throw that out. So the only option left is neither. Everybody good? Yes? All right, because there's a lot of you just kind of sitting there. I hope this is sinking in. So if there's something that I'm going over that you're not sure where I got it from, you have a question on, okay, so what you do when you work your way through it, right? You find the slope of the two lines, and then you ask yourself, are those slopes exactly the same? So are those lines parallel? Okay, they're not exactly the same, right? So parallel is not an option. So that leaves us with perpendicular and neither. So look at the slopes. Are the slopes opposite reciprocals? No. Right, this is a negative and that's a negative. So they're the same sign. So perpendicular is out. So what's the only option left? That's what we're doing. Okay. All right, 24. What does 24 ask, please? So what are the order pairs for 24? Okay, what was the first one, sorry? 2 and 12, 5 and 30? Okay, and then they'll give you units at the end, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is rate of change. What's another name for rate of change? Slope. So when they ask you to find the rate of change, what are they really asking you to do? Find the what? Okay. Yep, the only thing that's different about this one is that you do have to include units at the end. So we do the calculation and then we'll add the units in. Okay, so what's 30 minus 12? 18, 5 minus 2? 18 divided by 3? Okay. So what are the units that they give you? Okay, so which one of these are x's, the numerator or the denominator? The numerator, right? Those are y's, correct? So what unit are we using for our y's? Dollars, right? So I've got $6 per, because it's a rate, right? So that just means division. And what is the x unit? Hours. So this is $6 per 1 hour. Okay. And 29, what does 29 ask you to do? So what are the 2 points? Okay. Everybody all right? So we set it up just like normal, right? We're being asked to find the rate of change, which means find the slope. So what's my y2? Right, so I'm going to get 7 halves minus 3 halves all over 0 minus a negative 1. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, now when we subtract fractions, what must we have? What has to be the same when we subtract fractions? The denominators. Do I have common denominators? Yeah, so I don't have to do anything about getting them, I just do the math. So if I had 7 halves and I took away 3 halves, how many are left? Okay, so I've got 4 over 2 all over what happens to the double negative here becomes and what's 0 plus 1? And what's 4 divided by 2? Okay, so the fraction reduces to 2 over 1, which is, hey, what do you know? There's your slope, and you're done. That's it. So let me put the problems back up. And if you have questions, ask. Otherwise, work.